us now to give us the Brighton perspective ahead of Saturday's game is AD from Albion Roar. Good to have you on, AD. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. Good to see you.
So we've mentioned in terms of earlier on in our podcast today, it's the first game of Steven Gerrard in charge of Aston Villa. We're going to dive straight into a viewer question that we've had from our ever-growing band of loyal listeners. Obviously, Dean Smith was in charge of Villa before the international break, replaced by Gerrard. Would you rather have entered Villa Park with Dean Smith still in charge?
Well, it's a difficult one to answer because I don't watch Villa on a regular basis, so I don't know what the feeling was in the sands of Villa Park about Dean. I know he was loved and respected mostly because he's of his roots being a Villa fan, and he's done a terrific job for you. So, the results haven't been quite right, but then you've obviously got the thing of having a new manager bounce to deal with. But how often does a new manager bounce actually happen? I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to have to play you at some point with whatever manager it is. It's the same set of players that were not putting up too many trees of late. But at the end of the day, it's still a very talented squad of players in a very difficult league to play in. So whether Gerrard's managed to get his ideas across quickly or not, I don't know. But the depth of feeling for Dean Smith will probably be felt in the stands, and probably a little bit of confusion that he's already got another job. But you'll want to give the new gaffer some love as well. So it's going to be a confused stand, I think.
Speaking of, it could have been really confusing in many ways had we have gone for the hotly tipped, or one of the hotly tipped favourites, which was Graham Potter. And I think a lot of the tips there again was because he once said something nice about the Villa. He followed them and Birmingham City.
That goes well.
as a Brighton fan, were you ever worried that if Villa came knocking that his head might be turned, or did you think, no, we're going to be fine, he's going to stick with us?
No, not really. I think that Graham is a very principled man. He's a decent man, and he's got a project here at the Albion, which is going to be very, very difficult to replicate at another club because of the way that our club operates from the top down, from Tony Bloom being the chairman and being a lifelong Albion fan, pumped over 300 million quid of his own money into the club, and continues to bankroll us to a certain degree. But the club is run properly, and we've got Paul Barber, we've got Dan Ashworth, we've got everything moving down from the top downwards. It is in place to help the manager, and you can tell by the fact that he got a 6-year contract extension after only being in the job 3 months, how highly thought he is here, and the fact that he has an opportunity to carve out a niche for himself. He's not perfect. Results prove that. We know where the shortfalls are, but we know that we're constantly improving. A football club, its job is to win things ultimately, and you want to be competing at the top end, which is very, very difficult in this division. Since we've been promoted 5 years ago, we have been competing at the wrong end of the division. This season, we're starting to see the seeds of change a little bit in regards to that, but it's not we're not going to be win the Champions League next season, let's put it that way. But as some of our supporters think, that when we nearly went top, if we'd beaten the burning smell from up the road.
They mentioned in terms of Brighton this season and how they've been getting on. Last time out, 1-1 draw against Newcastle, currently nestled in 7th place in the league. Would it be fair to say, in terms of Brighton this season, it shows you can prove anything with stats? Because on the one hand, you could look at only a couple of defeats. On the other hand, in terms of not a win for a few games, in terms of where Brighton fans see progress this season. Happy with the way things have been going so far?
Well, it's very much similar to last season, where we were the XG champions of the world, and you know, anyone who saw our game against you at the MX last season, where we had, I don't know, it was us v Emi Martinez basically. It was just like, I think we had 32 shots on goal in that game, and it ended up 0-0. That pretty much summed up our season, really. This year, with some of the chances that we've been taking, there's been a couple of times where it hasn't. A classic example being away at Norwich again, the Newcastle game last week. But then, you know, I've been following the Albion for 40 years. I know exactly what the situation was going to be against Newcastle. Well, I mean, we're playing a team that hadn't won all season, couldn't score goals. Of course, we were going to lose 1-0. So, I mean, it just so happened we got our equaliser in first. But it was, you know, those are the sort of games historically that we would have normally lost. So it was a point to the total, and we move on. If you look at the performance away at Liverpool the week before, where we're unlucky to actually not win in the end. And the punters are coming away from Anfield like being so complimentary about us and our style of play and the way that we took the game to them. You know, that was the real Graham Potter side, but we're playing against a team that's going to attack us. He still hasn't quite worked out how to play against a team that's going to sit deep and try and hit us on the counter. Yeah,
they mentioned there in terms of the plaudits you got at Liverpool away in terms of the way you played. Leads us nicely on to another listener question that we've had. In terms of the game on Saturday, how do you think Brighton are going to set up? Do you think they're going to be set up in a more defensive way to try and hit Villa on the counter? Or do you think Brighton are going to set up in a more attacking way and go at Villa?
We will. This is the good thing about Graham Potter. Never second guessed what he's going to do. I have absolutely no idea, is the honest answer. He does tend to pick a team for horses for courses. He would have studied what you do and what the weaknesses were, but obviously we're going against a new manager. I mean, I think we're just trying to win the game on our terms, and you know, we're not a team that's going to come and park the bus. We never have been under Graham. That was very much a Chris Hughton tactic, pretty much. But Graham will always try and win the game first. If you can't win the game, try and draw. If you go into a game, try not to lose the game, then you know what, you're going to lose. He's very much a front foot forward manager. You know, the game at Villa Park last year, we did really well. We scored a fantastic goal with Danny Welbeck. He's traditionally broken at this time of year and still is. So hopefully he'll be back sometime before Christmas. Neil Maupay hasn't started the last couple of games, so he'll be hungry for a start. I suspect he probably will. But, you know, again, we don't know what tide Steven Gerrard's going to put out. I mean, traditionally, when a new manager comes in and have a look at the players he's had at his disposal, he's had a bit of time to do that now. We're just kind of trying to work out what side he's going to pick. Is that there will probably be a couple of surprises in there. We don't know we don't know which of your players are going to be fit. Is Danny Ings fit yet, or is he still crocked?
Back in training this week.
Well, there's a player that likes to play against us, so he'll probably get some minutes against us and possibly get some opportunities. But you know, it's been an interesting international break. We've had players across all over the world. None in the England camp, strangely, which we're still trying to work out. And I know you guys are very, very biased, but I mean, Tyrone Mings has obviously got pictures of Gareth Southgate's mother or something, because if Tyrone Mings is better than Lewis Dunk, I'm going to eat these batteries that are on here, because there's no way on this planet that Lewis Dunk is not better than Tyrone Mings.
I think, and it may come across as a bit biased, I like Lewis Dunk, very good player, and that leads me nicely on to my next question for you. I think though, Tyrone Mings, in my opinion, last season had a great season for the Villa alongside Ezri Konsa, and we constantly think, well, why isn't Ezri Konsa in the England team ahead of Tyrone Mings? I don't think Tyrone Mings has let England down, really. He does have a rick in him, but we've said on the podcast, or mainly I have, every player has a mistake in them. It's just that he's get quite highlighted. I think there's a lot of players in that England camp, to be honest with you, who I think, well, how have you got in playing the way you are? Mings at the moment shouldn't have been in. I don't think Conte should have at the moment. Connor Cody's only just really been getting back into form for Wolves. And then you've had the likes of Sancho and Rashford who have been getting into the squad. And you think, well, how on earth have you got in there? So there's a case for a lot of them, but Dunk particularly should have an England cap by now.
Well, he has got one.
Sorry.
I mean, there's all sorts of rumours flying around as to why he didn't get a second one, which I'm not going to go into now. But it does. The fact that he's been statistically the best English central defender across the Premier League for the last 3 seasons, and he's not even been getting into squads. It is a worry. I mean, he's got the most blocks, the most headers, the most goals. He's got the most accurate passes. If you go onto the Premier League website and you go onto the stats and look at Lewis Dunk compared to everybody else, that's not just the English players as well. A lot of the foreign players as well. He is head and tails above everybody else, and it just, it is a sense of frustration for us. Doesn't help that Gareth Southgate used to play for Crystal Palace, and obviously there is some sort of bias, and we will bang that drum whether it's true or not until the day he's gone. But yeah, we're not. There's been a couple of players that have been overlooked, but we'll see where we go. At least Ben White got a cap.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually. Do you think Lewis Dunk's better than Ben White?
Yes. Next question.
Well, I mean,
I tell you what. If you want me to answer that in detail, I will. Basically, Ben White, what Arsenal have done, they've paid £50 million for a lot of potential. Well done, Arsenal, for signing our third best English qualified centre back. Frankly, him, Adam Webster, and Dunkey were better than Ben White last season. But that said, Ben White will go on and be one of the best English defenders of all time. I'm pretty confident of that. What he lacks at Arsenal is having someone like Adam Webster or Lewis Dunk alongside him. He is a player that benefits from having someone who allows him to play. And he's gone to Arsenal and they're kind of trying to make him into the main man. He's not that player. There's been a lot of comparisons to Ben and Bobby Moore, which I can see is a long way off that yet. But as time goes on, he's that style of player, and he will have a great England career at some point, but not just yet.
Speaking of some of your great players, and from an outside point of view, this season, I haven't seen too much of Brighton this season, though I have seen the results more recently, such as that fantastic draw with Liverpool, where if you'd have gone on and won, I don't think anybody would have argued it. You played really well in that game. You've obviously got Dunk, who's a very good centre-back, statistically the best in the league, as you say. You've also got Bissouma, Lamptey, Trossard as some of your key players.
Yeah.
Who do you think has been your player of the season, or who's going to be the danger man, the person that Steven Gerrard should be going, actually, we probably need to watch that person this weekend?
Probably the player of the season so far has been Leo Trossard. He has flattered to deceive quite a lot over his Albion career so far, last 2.5 pre-seasons. He didn't have a massive reputation, but he was a player which we were very, very excited at, and he's shown it in flashes. But this season, he's come to the fore a little bit more. He's become a little bit more of a leader on the pitch, and of course, yeah, he still frustrates to a certain degree, but he's actually adding a little bit more end product to his game, and a little bit more consistency, and that's all that's been asked for him. We've got a very decent squad of players. you don't know who's gonna step up. I mean, Tarek Lamptey's just come back into the team as you mentioned. He's a player we're tremendously excited about. We're really lucky to have picked him up for next to nothing from Chelsea. He's a young, ambitious player, and he wanted to play, and he didn't see getting past Reece James at Chelsea, so he took the option to come to us. He's still growing. He's still very young. He's only just turned 20, 19 or 20, and he's got a few problems with his hamstrings because he's not fully grown yet. But my God, is he explosive, and he will absolutely terrify any defender at the moment. And we kind of played him a little bit out of position. I mean, by trade, he is a fullback, but we've tried to. He was playing more of as a winger against Newcastle the other day, and and if some of our other players were on the same wavelength, then they would have filled their boots goals wise, because he was putting it on a plate, but there was nobody there to finish, and that's been our downfall all season. Neil Maupay started the season really well. He started scoring a few goals, but like I said, he's not been getting starts of late because we've been playing Leo as a false nine. We're looking to the way we're playing. It constantly changes. I mean, and every player, this is where a good manager comes in. Every player's got to be ready to go from the first minute to the last minute, whether you're starting or not. We are very much a united squad, and we've got a lot of players in there who should be starting, who aren't starting, and then players who are starting who shouldn't be starting. But every time we're saying such and such should be started, and they do start, they don't always pull up trees. And every time that's the best team I've ever seen. We're going to win this 9-0, and then we end up drawing. Or like we did against Newcastle last week. So, it's a work in progress. We're delighted with Graham, and we just don't know what's going to happen at all on Saturday, because like I said, we don't know what kind of team that Gerrard's going to put out. We don't know what impact he's going to have. Going back to your first question, we played Norwich a couple of weeks ago, who were struggling and only just picked up their first point in the season, and on another day we would have lost that game.
No.
If Gerrard is going to have an impact and he's going to play on the front foot, that suits us.
Now, before we quiz you for your score prediction on Saturday, you mentioned there in terms of the improving quality of the Brighton squad over the time you've been in the Premier League. If we could give you a magic wand and you could take one player from the Villa squad into the Brighton team, apart from Tyrone Mings, who would it be?
Yeah.
Who would you have apart from Tyrone Mings?
Danny Ings. He basically, he's a kind of player that we need. We need someone who's actually a sharp finisher in and around the box. He's a player that we've looked at in the past, and for whatever reason, it's never really happened for us. And we also looked at God, I can't remember his name. The fellow that was at Brentford.
Watkins,
Ollie Watkins. Yeah, he was a player which we looked to sign at the same time you did. You had more money to spend than we did, and more money to pay on wages. So obviously he chose to go there. Again, he's a decent player, and I think he would work out very well in our team. But I've always had there's a few players in your team that we've nearly signed over the years, but I'm obviously going to have to go Danny Ings.
Danny Ings, because it's so similar to Tyrone Mings in name.
Yeah, Mings the Merciless, yeah.
So Baz was very polite and he didn't ask you for a result or a prediction for the weekend. I am going to ask you one. It is a bit harder, as you say, because nobody, Villa fans included, don't know what to expect with Steven Gerrard. But that added, as you've mentioned, you don't know what to expect with Graham Potter in regards to, will he go attacking? Will he try and sit back and counter us? But based upon the season so far, I imagine you could give us your prediction if you don't mind.
We're unbeaten away from home. I think we'll remain unbeaten away from home. Whether that's a win or a draw, I don't know. I think it's going to be very tight. I think that Gerrard will want to put out a team that's going to attack and try and get the Villa Park faithful on side. And that will open it up to us to attack on the break. Most of our goals come late at the moment. We are a very, very fit side. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Albion win, but the winner won't come till after the 80th minute.
I mean, that's usually when we're just getting warmed up in terms of conceding goals, especially based on Wolves.
I mean, I do have to ask you though. I mean, in terms of Gerrard, I mean, how do you feel about the fact that amongst all the media and everyone you listen to amongst the mainstream, they're just seeing this as a stepping stone for him? I mean, how does that make you feel as Villa fans? Is that a worry, or is that something that is that where you see your natural order of things now as a stepping stone? I don't see that myself, but it just seems to be that the media want to see it as like, oh, he's just going to be. This is just en route to the Liverpool job.
I mean, I've got a different opinion to Baz on this, and I only know that because Baz has mentioned earlier off camera about him thinking that we're a stepping stone towards the Liverpool job. I actually don't think that. I think I mentioned on a podcast we did with some international villains that for Gerrard to get the Liverpool job, he has to do well at the Villa. But if he's doing well at the Villa and he's getting us into Europe from 7th upwards because of that lovely second Europa League, and he's starting to build something, and he's got the money. I mean, a lot of people do forget that we're 5th richest in the Premier League with our owners. If he's getting the money and he's showing results season on season, there's no reason why he can't build a legacy here as well. I'm sure he would love to walk out at Anfield as the gaffer one day, but I don't think it's as cut and dry as the media are making out. Are we a stepping stone for most players? And that at the moment we probably are, until hopefully we can get back up to those top 7, top 6 places that we're in under Martin O'Neill.
Yeah.
But until we're there, and until we're showing that actually we're Aston Villa, we mean business, and we're consistently performing, unfortunately, we are a little bit of a midway point for most players and managers. However, I'm confident that Gerrard will do very well for us, and he'll stick around for longer than the 2.5 years that are left on Jurgen Klopp's contract.
Well, I've got a little story for you here, actually, boys. So I don't know if you ever actually see. I've got a shirt back here. It's a very, very rare match-worn shirt from 1985. A team that actually had Justin Fashanu in it. We had that shirt as well. But this particular jersey was worn by one of your heroes, which was Dennis Mortimer, European Cup winner. And it still smells of him, frankly, because it's fucking, it came into our possession a little while ago. We've a friend of ours, well, I say a friend of ours, was an acquaintance who used to be an Albion manager back in the day. When we were clearing out the Goldston, someone said, do you want these? And they've been stuck in his garage for 30 years. And they are so rare. I mean, basically, we've sold a few for charity. We got 8 of them, and including Justin Fashion which was fantastic. And that went for like 1,500 quid. I mean, there's a lot of money for a bit of smelly old material. It's absolutely rigged. I should wash it probably, but it's but yeah, I mean Dennis Mortimer was an absolutely fabulous player for us. So I don't know if you guys have got too many memories of, or probably, or maybe too young possibly, but yeah, he was but this was worn by the great man himself, and he was fabulous for us.
And sense of Mortimer, that is the Christmas present that people didn't know they needed. So get that done. Sell that idea to the Brighton club shop. We'll split the profits 50-50.
Yeah, it sounds like a fishing show, doesn't it? But a scent of Mortimer. But we'll leave it there.
Well, I mean, you've mentioned it. You're confident that you'll beat us at the weekend, and rightly so.
I'm not
Unbeaten.
confident at all. I mean,
Well,
I'm a Brighton fan. We and as you know, you don't support teams like Brighton for the glory. You go into every game with the hope and expectation that you're going to win, knowing that the likelihood is that you're not. So, and any chance of success is something we'll take. But I mean.
I get where you're coming
I think
from.
it's going to be a tight game, but I mean, we're just hoping that Gerrard's going to go on the front foot and he'll leave us the space in behind to attack. So, and Leo will come in and curl one in, or Solly March again, like he did against you last season.
We're hoping that Gerrard or Gary McAllister will come on towards the end, and hopefully hit a winner for us, such as our midfield.
Alexis McAllister, you mean?
No, Gary McAllister. Gary McAllister.
It was more likely to be Alexis, I think, and
good player as well.
We love him.
Well, speaking, being hopeful then that you're gonna continue that impressive away form this season. We ask every away fan who comes on, come the end of the season, do you see yourselves finishing above the Villa or below the Villa in the league? I appreciate there's a long way to go, but it's always a question worth asking.
I mean, we were just talking about Dennis Mortimer. He won the league with you in 1980. So, our highest ever league placing in the top flight has been 13th. So, anything above that we'll take as a bonus. We're looking. We want to finish top 10 this year. There's a very good chance that we might. Obviously, that's not a given, but I mean that's what we're aiming for. So if you finish 11th, then we'll finish above you. That's my view. I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult one because I mean, Dean Smith's just gone to Norwich, and I suspect that they're not gone yet. We got, like you said, there's a long way to go in this season. He'll have a point to prove there. I think he's got a very, very difficult job there. I don't think that they have quite got the squad together that they'll need to survive. Newcastle. I mean, we're not going to go into the politics of that situation, but they're in a very, very difficult situation. So they could have the most expensive. They could be the richest team in the championship next season. So we live in hope of that. Actually, let's hope that happens. So we always this season we're starting to look up rather than down, but that doesn't mean we're not still looking down.
It's definitely overrated being a rich team in the championship. That's what we found.
I couldn't possibly comment.
No. Hopefully you enjoy the game on Saturday. I mean, we'll see how your prediction turns out in terms of the result. And thanks very much for joining us. Much appreciated. And maybe apart from Saturday, good luck for Brighton for the rest of the season. And, we'll be keeping an eye out, seeing how you're getting on under Graham Potter.
Yeah, pleasure, boys. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Cheers.